Welcome. This is a video on equilibrium, price floors, and price ceilings. In order to talk about what price floors and price ceilings are, we need to understand about supply and demand and how that affects prices. The prices are in constant motion except when quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. This is called the equilibrium, which is what the price floors and price ceilings are in relation to. So when drawing your graph, the x-axis is quantity and the y-axis is price level. The intersection of your supply and demand lines is the equilibrium point. It is helpful to draw lines to connect the dot at the equilibrium to both axes, so later when you draw price floors and ceilings, you can easily see how quantity changes.
What we see here is the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied. We have excess demand with a price of $30, quantity supplied is 500, while quantity demanded is about 1,200. Thus, demanders will compete against one another, offering higher prices for the limited supply, and the price will rise. Here we have excess supply. The quantity supplied is at 2,000 with a price of $40. So there's where the two lines will intersect. While quantity demanded is only at 600, so now suppliers will compete to sell what they can for less, dropping the price level.
A price ceiling is when the government sets a policy of a maximum price for a good. Notice that the price ceiling is placed below the equilibrium. This is counterintuitive because you might think a ceiling would be above equilibrium, but since a price ceiling is the maximum capped price or as high as the price can go, this is not the case. Typically, the price ceiling is below the equilibrium, and it causes shortages for the good because at a low price, more consumers will demand the good even though suppliers don't have the means for producing as large of a supply as they did without the price ceiling. An example of this is rent control. Let's say at equilibrium 40 apartments are demanded and each apartment is $5,000 for rent. The government creates a price ceiling so that the renter can only charge $3,000. Now those same 40 people will be demanding an apartment, plus let's say 10 extra people because now that the price has dropped, more people will want the apartment, making 50 people want it, not just the original 40. But now that the price has dropped on the supply and demand curves, the renters are only able to supply 30 apartments, leaving 20 people still wanting an apartment. When a good is cheaper, more people will demand it, and those who are already demanding it at the original price still want the good, which causes a shortage. So a question you might have is if a price ceiling causes shortages, why set them? This is because pressure is often put on the government to intervene in order to help some people who may not be able to afford things in an unregulated market. For rent control, the case might be that the original prices were not affordable to the average worker, so the government put a cap on them. Some common results of price ceilings are a persistent shortage of the good, inefficiency arising from this persistent shortage in the form of inefficiently low quantity, inefficient allocation of the good to consumers, resources wasted in searching for the good, and the inefficiently low quantity of the good offered for sale, as well as the emergence of illegal black market activity. A lot of the time, government officials do not understand the supply and demand analysis and impose these price controls without fully acknowledging its effects. The second way the government can intervene to control prices is through price floors. A price floor is a minimum price that can be charged for a product. When this is above equilibrium, it creates a surplus because the product is now more expensive, so less people demand it, even though there is an excess of supply. A lot of the time, a price floor is placed on agricultural products so that the farmers can make a living wage. Another example of a price floor is minimum wage.
At equilibrium, the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded is at 10 million pounds of butter, and the price level is at $1. The government sets the price floor at $1.20, meaning that the quantity demanded will be at 8.5 millions of pounds of butter, and the quantity supplied will be at 11.5 million pounds, creating a surplus of 3 million pounds of butter.
So to review, a price floor is typically set above equilibrium and a price ceiling is typically set below equilibrium. Price ceilings tend to cause shortages, while price floors cause surpluses.
Which of the following is true at equilibrium? A. The supply schedule is identical to the demand schedule at every price. B. The quantity demanded is the same as the quantity supplied. C. The quantity is zero. D. Every customer who enjoys the good can consume it. E. Producers could not make any more of the product regardless of the price. B is the right answer because a competitive market is in equilibrium when the prices move to a level at which the quantity of a good demanded equals the quantity of that good that's supplied.
Which of the following is certainly true if demand and supply increase at the same time? A. The equilibrium price will increase. B. The equilibrium price will decrease. C. The equilibrium quantity will increase. D. The equilibrium quantity will decrease. Or E. The equilibrium quantity may increase, decrease, or stay the same. If we look on the supply and demand curve, if both supply and demand move outwards, the equilibrium point moved to the right, meaning that the equilibrium quantity increased, making the correct answer C. To be effective, a price ceiling must be set 1. Above the equilibrium price, 2. In the housing market, or 3. To achieve the equilibrium market quantity. We know that 1 is incorrect because a price ceiling is below equilibrium point. We know that a price ceiling is not always in the housing market, and we also know that the price ceiling is usually not hitting equilibrium. So the answer is E, none of the above.
Refer to the graph provided. A price floor set at $5 will result in A. A shortage of 100 units, B. A surplus of 100 units, C. A shortage of 200 units, D. A surplus of 200 units, E. A surplus of 50 units. So now when we look at the graph, at a price of $5, the quantity supplied is 200 units and the quantity demanded is at 100 units. So now we have a surplus of 100 units. So we have a right answer of B.
Last question.
Woo!
Effective price ceilings are inefficient because they A. create surpluses, B. create shortages, C. cause bad technology, D. cause Ms. Gridwald to be angry, E. cause higher prices. The correct answer is B. create shortages.